Leslie.
Adele, how are you doing?
I'm great. And here we are again.
I know, it's so much fun. I really love these interviews because it really helps everybody out there to get to know these wonderful, beautiful teachers and what they have to offer. And I really feel that this year's teaching group, besides everybody being so unique in what they're teaching, they're really incredible teachers. So it's going to be really cool.
Yes, I think it's amazing that we're able to pull all of this together, and besides that, and then bring so many people from around the world, artists, to come in and enjoy the experience, along with all the presentations that we have to offer.
Oh man, and we have 21 presentations, which is like pretty remarkable. And it is, I think what's really cool about the teachers and the presentations is everybody, like I was saying, everybody's unique and everything is so different. So it's going to be really, really fun for everybody this year. Yeah.
I think so too. Also, with all the bonus gifts that we have available, and everybody that has been involved in that has been very generous and supportive and encouraging, and it really keeps us going and the excitement going. And because a lot of people don't realize that we start planning and plotting a year ago. We started
yes.
So and this year we decided to really push it and open it up a month earlier than we did last year, to give everyone time for their supplies, because we know how shipping is right now. It's a little difficult, and I think that's going to help a lot of people to get everything organized before the course.
Yep, I agree too. And speaking of teachers,
yes,
we have another incredible teacher. Maria, would you like to bring her on? It's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
Hi, Maria.
Maria, hi. Welcome. We're so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm so happy to be part of the conference again this year, the summit. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love what you're teaching. We'll get into that in a little bit, but both of them are really unique and both of them are very different. So I think that is going to be so much fun. Definitely. And you guys out there, we can see you, Veronica. Hi, glad you're here.
Yes, they are all very giving, and we're excited to have them. And we're glad that you're here, Veronica. Thank you for
definitely
hosting.
And if you guys are out there and you want to ask comments as we're going along, we have little segments, and at each end of segments, we'll look at the questions or your comments. And if you would be so kind, sometimes your name doesn't show up because we're streaming in different areas. So if you would just, sign in. We see you, Veronica, but that sometimes it just says Facebook user, but we want to know who we're talking with. So if you would kindly add your name, that would be great. So these are we see Elena. Nice to see
Elena,
you.
Yeah, that's great.
Andy, hi.
Sandy's coming
so much
in
fun. Yeah.
She's one of, oh, that's great.
I love that you guys are chatty. I love that. Yay.
We want some chatting today.
Yeah, we do want some chatting. Thank you, guys. Yay. So keep writing your comments, and like I said, after each little segment, we'll take a little pause, and then we will pop up your comments or your questions. So feel free to write away. So what we love to do is we love to go into the teacher's art history, and we just feel that the backstory can be really interesting for you guys out there. And so that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with Maria's art history. And Maria, what was the strongest influence you had when you were growing up?
Well, I guess it's just my family in general. I was born in Canada, but my parents were new immigrants. They had just immigrated a year or two before I was born. They got married here after a short romance. And it was all about survival for them. So they came from agricultural towns, small towns in Italy. And in those places, you survived by making things. You never went to restaurants. You never went to boutiques and shops. So I remember I was a young teenager and I wanted a mini skirt and I saw it at Fairweather. I don't know if you guys were or Fairweathers, and absolutely not was my mother going to spend that money. We got the fabric and we made this skirt, and I learned how to sew at a young age. And then I learned how, I always loved drawing. And because of the sewing, I used to collect the old pattern books, you know, the big catalog.
Yes.
Right.
I used those as a way to learn how to draw figures and fashion design and all of that. And then it just kind of progressed into sculpting as I got older. But it's just, that's my culture. That's my family. You need, you don't go buy it, you make it. You need,
Right.
Yeah.
you feel like having a cheesecake, we'll make the cheesecake. So it's always been hands-on. My parents didn't appreciate the art form because it was survival for them.
Right. Right.
That support came from my teachers in school. And, you know, even I remember going to parent-teacher interviews with my parents because I was a translator. And my mom and dad were like, okay, big deal, she's good in art, but that's not going to be put on the table, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I don't resent them for it. It's just that was the reality of the time.
Right. That's the way it was. Yeah.
You know, but that's
Well,
definitely the influence.
yeah, it sounds like it's been a part of your life since
Yeah.
a long
My
time.
My dad actually went to Italy before he immigrated here. He used to do all the monuments for the cemeteries by hand. So he would,
Wow.
Wow.
but when he came here, that trade was done with machinery. So he went into a different field, but he never saw that as an art form. He just saw that as a necessity. That's what you had to do.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
What a wonderful background, Maria. It's probably been an amazing journey for you. So with all of this, why do you make art?
Well, I think, you know, I was a child of the 70s. I was a teenager in the 70s. I was into the women's liberation and the freedom, the whole thing. I was a good Italian girl. But I think that whole romantic notion of being an artist, being free-spirited, doing what I wanted to do and nobody telling me what to do. And I was just always attracted to the artist lifestyle. And that was my happiest time with a pen and paper, my sketchbook, my paints. Like, I just love that. And it actually, I was lucky because I was on the path to being a government public servant or something like that. And I met my husband at Carleton University, and he was kind of always into marketing. And he's the one that said, you can do that. Why aren't you doing that? So it was like, you just off a couple of marks on my list. But we went into the marketing business and I was doing graphic design. It's the same story for a lot of artists where you have kind of art background, but I also like business. So the kind of mixing the two hand in hand was a good combination for me.
Great. That's great. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do get it.
Lots of people start off because you want to be in art, you try to find a path that kind of makes money, and graphic design and commercial art was one of the areas that was very popular. So a lot of people were saying.
Yeah, and business can be creative. You know, it doesn't have to be cut and dry, you know, at all. You can make it very creative. Yeah.
You know, like I always thought, you know, I'm right brain, left brain, you know, I'm not good in math, but I am. And as artists, we often use math to
Yes.
figure things out and measure things out. So, you know, we say that, but maybe I'm not good at algebra and that sort of stuff, but you need to use all those skills.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Adding up all the money the millions that we're making.
Yes.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, goodness.
And at our conference this year, we are going to have a lot of beginning artists, and we're wondering, do you have any advice for them?
Absolutely. grow a thick skin. That's
Yeah.
grow a thick skin. You know, when I first started out, because I'm mostly self-taught, I always had a little bit of that imposter syndrome. And so I was very self-conscious, and I was very sensitive if I heard a negative comment, or even someone coming into a display that I had and saying, "Oh, I would have bought that if you had done it in blue." And I was like, how stupid was I, you know?
Right.
And it would crush me. And I came to realize this is not my problem. This is the person who's looking at my art. Everything is subjective, and bad comments are just as valuable as good comments. And one person might not like it, another person it shouldn't affect your self-esteem. It shouldn't affect your confidence. Use it to take another step forward. So definitely grow a thick skin, and don't be afraid of what people think. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
That's right.
I so love that, Maria. I just think that, I mean, all three of us as artists, have things said, just off the top of their head type of thing. And you have to realize, just as you were saying, is that is coming from them and their perspective. And yes, and it's not, and I find it fascinating that I'll do like a series of pieces for a show or something. And I know that this one, the blue one, just say, I know the blue one's going to sell, and it's the last to go, so you don't know what you're on. And so that is such wonderful advice.
So a lot of people get freaked out by clowns and little people and stuff like that. But if somebody says something like that, like it'll rattle me. It used to rattle me, but now I kind of laugh it off and say, well,
right. Yes. And I think as long as you really do what's in your heart, whatever your passion, your calling, whatever you want to call it, as long as you're doing that and being true to yourself, then your art is going to be wonderful, and it'll connect, or it will speak to someone. Yeah.
More important than the actual figure is the story that goes with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That probably another piece of advice is that everything has to have a story.
Yeah.
Because if people retell that story, and it's a reason why they buy it. There's a connection. So you have to reflect your story onto the viewer's story.
Yeah.
Well, there's a story with every piece, because when you're starting to develop it, you already in your mind, that's where it comes from where it is developing in your mind to put it out there, and that story is very important to go with the piece.
Absolutely.
For marketing towards collectors like to have a prominent piece.
Yeah.
So a story that has to go with it. And so it's a matter of articulating that to your viewer, to your collector, and making sure that there's something to talk about with that.
That's right.
It's a good connection.
I love that. Those are two really, really good things. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Let's see.
Do we have some comments, Adele, that we want?
We have somebody says hello to everyone, but we don't know who you are. Can you please tell us who you are?
Yeah, we want to know who you are.
That's not fair. You got to let us know. And then we have, that's for sure, Veronica. Yeah, we have to have thick skin sometime.
I love that.
Yeah.
And Sandy's here again too. Hi, Sandy. So glad that you're here. And Elena too. Nice. Yes. So now we're going to jump into the studio, into your studio. And we love this section because we feel that it gives you viewers out there like a personal feel and a personal look into how you work. So what is your most important artist tool?
My goal?
Tool. Artist, what is your tool?
So that's something that I was thinking about when I saw that as one of your questions, because I do have a couple of tools that I started working with when I first was introduced to sculpting in polymer. And I have a wire cutter that fits my hand perfectly, and it's grounds for divorce if my husband touches it. But when in a pinch, I can use anything. I could use a toothpick to sculpt. So I think the most important tool is my head and my hands. And I don't, I'm always looking for more tools. I'm always adding tools, and I encourage everybody to have a stash of tools because, you know, everything purpose, but that's not going to make you an artist. That's not going to make you a good sculptor. It's your brain and your hands and persistence.
Mhm.
Do it over and over and over again.
Yep.
That's what's going to make you good. Because
Yeah, that practice.
yeah,
That's for sure.
I've used a skewer. I've done, you know, nail file.
Yeah, yeah.
Will work to get the result if you see the vision and you can translate it. So it's really
Yeah.
not tools per se. It's more the thought process and the conceptualization.
Yeah, it's interesting what all the tools we buy, and we wind up using the very first one we had.
Yeah.
You know, we always.
Cake decorating tools, leather embossing tools. Those are all good tools that translate very well with polymer.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Maria, I know that you recently, well, not recently, but you had moved and
Yes.
you had to downsize your
Yes.
studio. And I know that was a huge challenge for you.
Very.
But when you did that move, what was something that had to go into that studio that you cannot live without?
Well, you know, obviously my clay and the basic things that I got rid of a lot of the accessories that I collected over the years. I have a large mechanics toolbox. It's a metal standing toolbox with 27 little mini drills.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
This thing is old and rusted, but that's everywhere. And that's where all my little buttons and pins,
Okay.
broken jewelry, and little things that I collected.
Yeah.
I don't have it labeled, but I know where everything is.
Yeah.
One of those things, in the chaos, there is order, and it makes sense to me. But that's where my stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And probably my TV is important too, because I always have to have background noise. It kind of sets the pace, and the beat kind of gives me a working pattern. It's kind
Yeah.
of forward. So it's either that white noise of a TV program or a talk show in the background or music playing in the background. I need that. I can't work in quiet. That's
Right.
not constructive for me.
Yeah. I find the same thing, that I
Yeah.
need music. I have music in the background, and I love what you just said about the beat, because you know, I think as artists we all have like our certain pace, our certain beat, and I love you know, that'd be interesting just to find out what people listen to and what type of beat they work to. You know,
Well,
I love that.
some people need to focus and they can't have distractions, but sometimes that just sets the pace. Like you said, it's like
Yeah.
just you move forward, you know?
That's interesting. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We'll put that on the questions for next year. I think that's really good. And then, is there an element of your art that you enjoy working with the most, and why is that so?
So I think, you know, some artists, it's the concept, developing the concept. Some artists like to do sketches and develop their idea on paper first. I think I use photography more than I do sketch, but like if I have an idea, like I did a piece a couple of years ago called The Haircut, and it was a barber cutting a little boy's hair, and he was kind of crying, getting his long locks, and it was a piece that reflected on my grandson who has long hair, and we've been bugging him to cut his hair. So I made my husband and my grandson pose for it as if my
Oh,
so
yeah.
the hand movement, the positioning of the boy with the drooped shoulders, and he was happy, and like just the whole thing. I had to capture it with a photograph. So planning all the bits and pieces, making the accessories to make it all come together. But the concept is an exciting time.
Yeah.
And then of course the working towards it, like that kind of all falls into place. But I would say the conceptualization of the idea. And, you know, sometimes that comes from within, sometimes something external, you know, spark.
So you're saying, is that your favorite part of your process that you do?
Yes,
That you like the best? The
idea,
research and planning? Yeah.
researching, the planning, developing the concept, developing the image that I want to come across, kind of figuring out what the emotion is that I want to come across. So it all gets kind of planned out in my head before I actually start, and then I know how to create the armature. I know the expression I want on the character's face. And that's the fun part. That's, it's like having a party at home when you're inviting guests. Planning the party is a lot more fun than actually holding the party, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
To leave,
That's so true.
Well, and I find that I kind of work the same way, Maria, that I conceptualize everything in my head, and so then by the time I'm finished in my head, it just like comes out my hands, and like you said, everybody works different. Some people sketch, some people do, and I find everybody, the way they step into their approach is very unique, like their art. It's really fun to see.
Things develop organically, but there's a lot of change with those pieces that are not planned out. There's a lot of change and metamorphosis that happens throughout the process. But the ones that that are planned out, it's all worked out before I even touch the clay.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you're working through your piece, how do you know when it's finished?
So that's a topic of conversation, and everybody I'm with, and it's always been the big question. And I'm just as guilty as everyone else of overworking something or ruining something by overworking it. So because most of my work, I shouldn't say all, most of my work ends up in a gallery or is sold, I've created a system for myself that works in that when I feel I've finished or when I feel I'm not seeing things clearly anymore, I step away overnight. It has to be a full, 10, 12 hours that you step away. And when you go back, you see the flaws and you see what you want to tweak. And then I force myself to sign it or label it. So when I put my tags on it and I put my signature on it, I have a personal rule that I no longer play with it. I no longer tweak. It's finished. It stays in the house for a little bit and then it goes wherever it's supposed to go. Or if it's a commission, I'll keep it around. But as soon as I sign it, it's done. It's finished.
Yeah.
And it works for me because, we just naturally tend to overwork things. We second guess ourselves, and you have to learn to walk away.
Yeah.
The next one will be better if you're not happy with that one.
That's true. Right. That's true. Oh my goodness. I know, Maria, you're always in your studio. You're always working, and you're so prolific on all of your pieces. You're putting them out there in the gallery. You're taking commissions. Do you ever reach a creative block?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I was wondering. I thought it was only me.
It's a regular thing, and it's kind of like going through menopause, But I have to do something else that's creative. It's always creative. So it's either I spend a day in the kitchen, making lasagnas or making cabbage rolls, or I spend a day sewing for myself. I like to sew my own clothes, and I still like to craft. I like working with floral design. I still like to do those things. Or I spend a day going to the galleries or looking up other artists and seeing what they're doing and seeing if that sparks some inspiration. Pinterest is like
that's a rabbit hole.
Time disappears with Pinterest. But I belong to ArtFire, Contemporary Art Online. I belong to several groups. I'm also involved with the National Capital Network of Sculptors. So it's all sculptors, but in different mediums. So I'm influenced, and I reach out to those things to re-inspire me. So usually blocks can last between a day and up to 2 weeks for me. And it's during that time that I catch up on my paperwork, my bookkeeping, and then do other things that will motivate me. And it comes back. It always comes back. Worse than before. More crazy.
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting. So we have a couple of comments. Let's see where I left off. I think Sandy was saying that she needed to hear what you had talked about insofar as when you're receiving criticism.
Right.
Okay, well, that's the part that we all have to work on as artists, because we have such low self-esteem and we're so afraid of failure and we're so afraid that people won't like what we do. We have to get over that part, because that's part of our development as artists. And we just have to learn to accept the criticism as a positive thing, because just as much as art makes you feel good, it can also upset you, and or it can agitate you. Those are feelings, and art, if it succeeds in giving you any emotion, whether negative or positive, it's doing the right thing. So some people won't like your work, some people will hate your work, some people love your work. It doesn't matter. They react to your work, and take that as a positive thing, and learn to build up a thick skin so that those that you perceive as negative, because they might not really be negative. It's just we're so insecure with ourselves that we tend to take everything so personally. Let it roll off. And if something is truly a negative comment, like let's say that somebody says, your hands are too big for the character, thank them and look at it. If maybe they're right, maybe you do work a little bit on that, and use it as a motivation to get better. But just don't take it personally, and I can't tell you how many times I was going to quit everything and get a job at Fabricland. That was my I was going to give this all up, but it passes, and
that's true. That's true. And Sandy is saying here that she's learned a lot from you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're one of my star pupils.
That's so great.
Sandy works very hard at her art.
She did some amazing elves last year too.
Yes.
Really good. Awesome.
Let's see here. We have Elena.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Fun.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Get some little education while you're sculpting or doing something.
Right. And I find it motivating. I usually listen
to
the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. I listen to them talk about restoring things sometimes, and just their enthusiasm and their, looking into every little detail. I find that really interesting. So yeah, it's fun.
And we have a Facebook user. I don't know who this is, but I'll post it up here. She talks about that she loves also the research and the planning. Her issue is getting started.
Yeah, well,
that happens.
The getting started is something that you really have to push yourself, because the momentum, when you start, you can't stop it. So, it's not something I can work on a little 20 minutes tonight, and if you're going to get started, block that hour or two to start planning, and then you won't be able to stop. And the momentum.
Right.
So the art is not something you can work on 10 minutes at a time. You have to be totally, immersed in it. So you have to take the time, force it.
Yeah. And here is another one. Getting new insights, ideas, new perspective, a fine seeing your work through other eyes helps you grow and create.
Yeah, I love that.
That's so
true.
Great.
Yep.
It's so true.
I think it's important that as artists that we support each other this way, because you do get inspired by other people's work, and often little things get translated into your own work, where you incorporate each other's ideas, and it's not stealing an idea, it's applying that to your own and developing your own style.
Right.
Yeah, we need to feed off each other for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's why we love this art connection that we've got going, Maria, because we're bringing in so many other mediums that could work with what we already know. Our foundation might be sculpting, but we're picking up other information like painting or felting or whatever, So that's been really our mission, is to put artists together.
Right. Yep. And I love we've created such a beautiful community of soul people, and it's really, really wonderful. And we were talking earlier too, the Art Connection Summit community in Facebook is it's such a safe place for you guys out there to put your work up and to share it. And, if you want to ask questions, or get advice, you can put that up there, but you can also just show your glorious work. That just the fact that you're creating is like, that's huge.
I did want to mention is a couple of the students that did take my shop last year were confused as whether they could make things from my workshop and resell them. And the answer is yes. That's the whole concept of this. The whole purpose of this is to learn something and redo it. And if the actual project itself is something that you can resell through an art show or a craft show or something like that, go for it. You don't really even need to give me credit. Like if you were to get published somewhere, it'd be nice if you gave your teacher a little bit of credit, but really the whole idea of taking a class is to learn a technique that you can, if you're interested in making a business out of it, do it.
Right.
I encourage that. That's the whole idea. Actually, I'm really kind of excited to see how people have taken my idea and improved on it and, created a new concept, and Sandy actually is a very good example of that.
Yes.
She is a very prolific, and she's taking what she learns, and I was the same way. I'm all self-taught, so a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person, and I created my own style.
You sure did. I love all your pieces. They all have a story, and I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's wonderful.
That.
And now we're going to jump in and talk about your art and inspiration. We know that each artist is very unique and individual, and we, as artists, we strive to be like that. And then, is there something that you have designed that you just love?
At the beginning, going back 25, 30 years ago, I used to be very attached to some of the pieces that I had made. And then as I've grown as an artist and as I've started working with galleries and selling my work, I've detached myself. So I don't feel the need to hold on to anything. Once the pieces are finished, they kind of hang around the house or in the living room or in the studio for a week or two, but then they're going somewhere. That's the whole thing. They're leaving the house. And especially once I've signed it off and it's done. But saying that, my husband is different. My husband gets it. And, so there's a couple of pieces. I just did one. I did it over the weekend, and it's two little men kind of acrobats, and they're in black and white stripe. I posted it on my Instagram with green balls, and I
saw that.
I did those ready to take to a gallery, and he won't let me take it. He just likes it. He thinks it looks great in the living room. So that's staying. And so they're not even signed. I put them there to sit on them overnight. He just likes them. And then I was getting ready to sell off my 3 Jester busts, and he got very upset. So okay, he owes me some money. But if there's a connection, or if one of my kids really like a piece, then, I don't have a problem for them taking it. But personally, it's kind of like the shoemaker, that goes around with a shoe. That's how I feel about that. It's not mine. What I make is to give joy to somebody else. It's not for my person.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. You really are so prolific. I mean, I can't. How many pieces do you do a year?
The last couple of years, it slowed down a little bit. At the height, when I was actually doing shows, art shows, and exhibits, maybe I was doing anywhere between 40 and 60 pieces a year.
Wow.
I think I brought it down to less than 30 now. If I count the little things, like the fish with faces, I make 20 of those a year. The elves, if I count them individually, see, I think of that as one block.
Right.
But like this year, I've made 48 elves that I'm just finishing off right now. But
wow.
So I don't count that as 48. I count that as, that's the series. That's that block. So the pieces that go to the gallery, and then the commissions I do less of. Mm-hmm. So at one point with the commissions, I was doing up to 8 a year, and I've really cut that back. I'm very selective. Commissions are not as enjoyable. Commissions are very, very stressful, and you're always trying to see out of the customer's eyes, what they're
Right.
expecting. So I've only had one bad situation with that, but in general, I'm on pins and needles until I get it. So,
Sure.
and I allow people to see a commission at some point in the middle before it's assembled, to give them a chance for input. But once they've seen it, they've given me the okay, that's it. That's what you're getting. Definitely with commissions, you want to get 50% down in front, and it's non-refundable.
Right.
Of course.
But
Sure.
luckily, I've been very, very fortunate, but I have cut back on it because I dread doing commissions.
Yeah.
I'm good at it, but it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to see here. We have a couple of let's see. We have it looks like a newcomer to our group.
Yeah. Welcome, Barbara. We're glad you're
Hey, Barbara.
here.
Well, let's see, Maria, you want to tell her what you do?
I'm a figurative polymer clay artist, and I do figurative sculpture. I don't like to really refer to it as art dolls. They are art dolls, but art dolls are sometimes not seen as fine art. So this is the language is very important, depending on what you do. If you want to stay in the art doll world, definitely call them art dolls. If you want to venture into galleries and museums and that type of work, I would change your title to a figurative sculptor or figurative artist. I do portrait work. I do character pieces. I also do Christmas, like most figurative doll artists. I kind of started with Christmas, Santas, elves, fairies, and I have a clientele that collects every year. But my favorite pieces are my character pieces. And I work in series. So whenever I do a new series, I do between 3 and 7 new pieces in that collection. And that's very important if you are working with galleries and museums, is they tend to not want to deal with you if you're a one-of. So if you only do one character, they like to see groups of work, so that if they carry you, they sell one piece, they have additional pieces in that same collection. So I'm a professional artist, so I wouldn't make a good living if I didn't have my husband backing me up. Making a living out of this is not an easy thing. And there are good times and bad times, so it kind of goes up and down. But I love what I do, and I stick myself into anything within the art community in my city, as well as groups throughout. So I work very, very hard to get polymer clay seen as a fine art medium.
Yeah. Well, we just keep striving, don't we? We keep striving to elevate it. Barbara, we'll add Maria's website in the comments, so you can go visit her website and you can see all of her amazing pieces. And we'll post those right after we finish this. I will post it for you. Thanks for being here, Barbara.
And Barbara, we also, at the end of this, we put together a special edition magazine with all the artists in there, and that will show a lot of Maria's work, and also have a different interview than this one, different questions that, you can look at too. So
we'll post all of that.
So do you want to put up any more comments?
I think we had one more I wanted to post here, and this is Ellen. Oh, she loves Maria's pigtails and braids. Yeah, that was a great piece.
Pieces, yes.
Yeah,
that was actually a commission, and I was approached to do an African American piece. The conversation was about how fathers bond with their daughters within the Black community, and doing their hair is one of the things that men are encouraged to bond with their daughters. So she wanted a sculpture, and she gave me total freedom. I love that commission because it didn't have to look like anybody. It just had to portray that. And I really enjoyed that. And that piece actually has won a couple of awards. So I'm very, very pleased with that.
That's great.
And we have somebody special that you probably know, Maria.
Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Hey, Lisa, we're glad that you finally made it in.
Yay.
Then we have Anne. Let's see, Anne from Australia.
Hi, Anne. Hi, Anne.
Hey, Anne. Great.
Yay.
How fun.
We're
to see all
so
these
glad you're
people
here.
come in.
I know, it's really fun. So let's jump over to our Connection Summit for this year. And you have two really, really wonderful classes that you're teaching. And what inspired you to create these, or what was the idea to create these pieces for our Connection Summit this year?
Well, the first class is sculpting studies. It's the second chapter. So last year, I introduced the sculpting studies of the face. So where we're working with each part of the face and then showing how to assemble the whole thing. This year, it's about the hands, the feet, shoes, and how I put together a body and how I figure out proportion. How do I figure out proportion for the hands, for the feet? And there's a little trick to that I use, but also my method for creating the body, where I do an internal armature, I do kind of a second body armature, and then I do an outside skin. And it's with the skin that I find that that's the way I can kind of augment the body. I joke around that I do augmentations and reductions on all of my characters, but it really, really works well for me. And then the hands, I think one of the things that I notice with my students when I teach in studio is almost everybody gets stuck on one part. So with the face, it was either the mouth or the nose, they were having trouble. So I always allowed them to do a practice session before we actually, and that's how this class came to be, sculpting studies from last year. But this year, we're going to be working on hands. And I think a lot of people get intimidated with hands. And just my camera.
I know, it's always hard to find the camera.
Yeah. Let me put you on a big screen. Hold on a second. Okay.
There
you go.
So my method of creating hands are I do them with armatures and without. And the reason why I kind of developed a method without is because sometimes the armature creates too much bulk, especially if you're working on a smaller figure. So I show you how to do both of this. This looks like it's my little hands here. But also sizing the hands. So often I'll look at other artists' work, and often the hands are either too small or they're not the right, proportion for the body. So my little trick to help you determine the hand size and the feet size, so you can see we're working on feet.
I love those.
Yeah.
I just love
I know,
those.
they're great.
Those are so cute.
But I'm also going to show you how I do certain types of shoes, Oxford.
Those are cool.
Ladies' shoes. I also give you, in this class, you're going to get 2 additional PDF files where you'll learn how to do Santa boots, elf boots, and then witches boots.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah.
Resources where to find things. Some things you can find in, places, or even the dollar store. You can find a lot of these things. But if not, I also give you some resource guides. But this really helps you to finish your piece, because it's one thing to have a beautiful head, but if the other parts of it don't come together, then it doesn't look like it's professionally done. So this is just some things that I've learned along the way. And like I said, I'm mostly self-taught, but a lot of these little tricks, I picked up little bits and pieces from other artists, and I've just put it together into my own format. And especially the body. I think you'll enjoy, students will really enjoy how I calculate proportion and how I assemble my bodies. And then once you join this class on the Facebook forum group, I'll be adding some other templates so you can adjust your figure for sitting or for different positions.
That's
So
right.
Check in with the Facebook forum page, because you'll get a little extra there as well. And next year, this same class will be the 3rd and final chapter, which will be costuming. And I know we all have our little tricks that we do to create costuming, but maybe what I can offer might give you a little extra insight,
Yeah. Your costumes are really amazing.
Thank
how
you.
you put them together.
I work very fast, so I've kind of cut corners, but I make up for it in other ways, and just little tricks so I can do really tailored outfits. So I'm anxious to get started on that lesson next year too.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
great, Maria. That's great.
The other class that she's teaching is so different and so much fun. I love these pieces. I think
that's actually a class. It's called Fish with Faces, and that's actually a class that was inspired by the work of another artist. So the other artist is called Sergio Bustamante, and he's a Mexican. I think he's like a national hero in that country. But if you've ever been to Mexico, you've seen he does cats and lions with human faces. So that's a big trend right now. And I don't want to say the word. Can you say the word, Adele? Because I have
Nope.
to
Forget it. I'm not even going to attempt that one.
There's actually a name for giving human characteristics to an animal. And it's a trend. Right. A lot of artists are playing around with this. And that was the inspiration behind the fish with faces. The fish was something that I was doing in relief format, and I was teaching it as a beginner class. And I kind of just combined the two. The facial sculpt is not a super detailed facial sculpt. It's an easy, quick sculpt. But we talk about doing graduated colors. We talk about doing pattern and texture. But this class particularly is important if you want to develop ideas to resell, because I talk about adding value to your piece, and the materials that you use, even for the base, it just creates an added value and justifies what you want to charge for your work that you want to sell. So I think it's a very good lesson there. I think just that part alone, it's not a super complicated project, and it's good for even beginners, but it's something that a lot of students are going to be able to take and embellish and make even more their own idea. So I think it's a really good class, and I sell those very, very well. I don't make it available through all of the galleries, just one gallery in particular that is kind of in a touristy festival town, but I've had so many people asking me for this as a class. So I think it's going to be a popular one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really, really interesting. And Veronica posted this for us. Thank you, Veronica.
Yeah.
Say it and throw them over.
Morofic. Yeah. It's a PH, I see. Yeah.
Go ahead, Leslie.
Yeah.
Time's fast.
That's all right. It's a tough one. It is.
Yeah.
But we knew exactly what you meant. Yeah.
We
absolutely.
all did.
Because I do that too. Yes. Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
That's great.
And Maria, we're just so excited to have you here with us at the Art Connection Summit again this year. And I'm so excited to see what your class will do. Like with the fish is going to be so much fun. And, that's kind of just opening the doors to creativity. And then the realism that you're also bringing in with the sculpting studies is really fantastic. Yeah. So it's going to be really exciting for everybody, and they're going to learn a lot of things from you.
I really enjoyed students last year. I got to meet some really interesting people.
Yeah.
They did an amazing job,
Yeah.
Everyone tried to start posting, but once they do, it starts. You start seeing some really good work.
I know. It's great.
It's always such a fun, exciting 5 days. It feels like a rush during those 5 days, but with them being able to download their lessons, they keep working on them, and it's nice to see them appear through the year as they're working on them. So
I don't disappear from the forum. I check in every day, even
we know.
I'm constantly there, and I'm ready to answer any questions.
Yeah.
Well, you're great about that, Maria. Thank you so much. I know you do so much with your art, but is there other interests that you have that you'd like to share that people don't know about you? I know you like to cook.
I like to cook, and I'm not a great cook. I'm a good cook. There's a few things that I have to get better at. But what I'm really trying to do more of right now is golf, and
that's great.
To get out more, and something that my husband and I do together. I am terrible. It is a stupid game. But it's a reason for my husband and I, it's a reason for me to get off my butt and outside, because I would be happy as a hermit living in my studio.
Yes,
so
we get that.
I really have to, but when I'm out there on the golf course, it's a lot of fun. And we golfed 2 days ago. We're golfing again tomorrow. I'm 9 holes I'm happy with. 18 is a little it's a par 3, but just doing more of that. And this was this downsize, moving into a smaller house, was supposed to be the year that we traveled more. And Leslie, I really want to get down to your end of the world soon. It's on my list, but it's kind of been postponed. So I'm hoping next year we can start
Mhm.
doing a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Sure. We're hoping that for everyone. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Mm.
Definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
it's good that you do get up and move. I think that's real important. Leslie and I both really love to work out. Leslie does kickboxing and yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do manage to get up at least 3 or 4 times during the week and go to a
Well,
gym. So
But
it's very
especially,
important.
you do on those big treks, those international treks. That's so admirable. And you're up early doing your 45 minutes an hour at 4:30 in the morning. Like,
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only time I have.
I know. I'm like impressed that she can do that. I can't work out first thing in the morning. That I just think that's so impressive. Yeah, definitely. I love it.
Well, let me tell you, I'm half asleep for the first
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
that's not to be conscious. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you know what? It's been just wonderful to have you, Maria, and so
Thank you.
appreciate you taking the time. I know you're
Yes.
with your family right now, but it's great to have you here. Lisa posted a comment here that I was going to post for you.
Mm.
Oh, thanks, Lisa.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's really wonderful. Yeah.
that's
Thank you.
nice, Lisa. Glad you're here. Yeah. So for those that are coming in late, please feel free to post your comments or questions. We'll be around to check them out, and I'm sure Maria will see them and she'll answer them for you.
Yeah.
As Leslie said, there's great article in the summer issue of A for Artistic. We have wonderful articles for all of our teachers that are going to be teaching at the Art Summit. So, check it out.
Yes. Yes. And
This year, some great teachers, some really.
yeah. Yeah. And the variety is what's so exciting too. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be fun.
We're real anxious we're not too anxious because we have a lot of work.
Yeah, we still have some things to do, but we'll do it. We'll get it. Yeah, definitely. And Maria, thank you so much for taking time away from your family. I know that you had, this special event with them to be together. And so we really appreciate you stepping out and, telling your story about everything.
Thank you very much. It's fun to talk about yourself once in a while.
I know.
That's true. That's true. Well, that's what we're here for, is to celebrate you.
Yes, absolutely.
I really am very grateful for all the work that you guys are doing with this and introducing what I do to so many people outside of the country, around the world. It's amazing.
You're welcome.
You guys are amazing.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, and
Thank
we
you.
hope that as we continue, we hope it just keeps getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're learning too. The
Yep.
first year was a little tricky, but we
Yeah.
managed to get through that.
Yeah.
And then we learned a lot from there, and we've refined a lot of areas. And so we're in the learning process as well.
Right. Yeah. We're growing with it also. Yep. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maria.
So thank you, Maria. It was really wonderful chatting with you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. All right.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was
Wow.
great. These
It was
teachers,
great.
aren't they just rock, man? They are so good. It's so much fun. And thank you all, you guys. Thank you for your wonderful comments too. Because we love having you guys step in on this too.
Yeah. And I like the fact with Maria, she's been out there, she's been selling to galleries, and she can pass that knowledge and that experience that a lot of, well, maybe not all the artists, but they're maybe wanting to strive in that direction, and they just don't know where, how,
Yes.
And to hear it from somebody that's actually doing it, it really makes a big difference.
Right. And she is so giving in her information also.
Very much so.
Yeah. So her 2 classes are going to be really, I'm very excited to see what they come up with. It's going to be really fun. All the classes are so wonderful. I mean, they're all, yeah.
Well, we can't say enough. I know we just keep bubbling over.
We would,
all of that.
Adele and I will just we are chatters, man. We will, we're just crazy. So, and speaking of chatting, when you guys are with us at the Art Connection Summit, we will daily, it'll be at noon Eastern time every day. We will have a little talk show for you guys. So you'll get to hear us talk about what's happening and what's going on, and just all that fun stuff. We have lots of fun things going on. So
yeah, and we're also planning on having some special guests pop in. But we're not going to tell you. It's going to be that
it's a
day.
Secret. Yes.
It's a secret, but we really want to make this a lot of fun for you and to feel like you're part of the whole summit. And that's what we want to do. Now, Elena posted a little something here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was a group effort to get that magazine put together. The teachers were very generous with their articles and their pictures, and they worked very hard to get all of that to me, and because we were on a deadline, so it was really, like I said, a group effort. And the articles are amazing, the photographs were amazing, so it's a great issue.
Yeah, it's
to
really
learn more
fabulous.
about them. And is saying we're
and thank you.
Well, all of you guys are amazing. For
I
showing
know.
Up.
I know.
We're chatty women over here. You're probably getting tired of hearing us.
Yeah.
But we're so glad you're here.
Yes. You guys, thank you so much for being here and for participating. We, like Adele and I have mentioned before, our mission is to connect everybody, and we just love having this connection with you guys. And we're doing it. Yay, we're doing it. Yeah.
Yes, we're doing it. And we have lots of plans, not just for this year, but moving forward.
Oh, yeah. Well. We're like into 2023 already planning. So
I know. It's okay though.
Yeah.
We have to keep going.
I have I have all my lists here. Look at
all right.
Look it up.
All right. Don't show no behind the scenes stuff now, Leslie. Don't do that. All right, everybody.
All right, you guys. Thank you.
Have a great day.
We're looking forward to the next interview next week on Wednesday. So thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.